Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber here with One Rental at a Time. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time now, you know I have been battling with AT&T. Well, as promised yesterday, they are out and Comcast is in. This is actually the first video we are recording with the new Wi-Fi. We will see how it does. It is already appearing to be faster, so I am happy. What we're going to talk about here today is the fast-moving, I don't know what you want to call it, lawsuit appeal of President Biden's CDC eviction moratorium. To catch you up on what has happened last Tuesday, or actually we should say last Saturday, the original CDC moratorium expired on July 31st. By Tuesday, August 3rd, we had a new CDC eviction moratorium. That is actually going to prove to be an important point. What we are seeing now with the legal scholars that are debating this, and yes, I'm going to bring up an article and we are going to walk through it together. They are clearly arguing that this is not an extension of the previous order where they had a judgment from the Supreme Court that basically said, no, 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 don't do that again. They are saying that this is a new order and not an extension. So you will see that in the notes. In addition, you will see that they are talking about it's not a blanket eviction moratorium, which is very different than last time. Although, of course, it does cover currently 80% of the United States and 90% of the population. So there are lots of things going on, but there is one clear thing that you will see in this article, and that is this is not an extension. This is a brand new order that must be decided on separately and stand alone. So with that said, let's bring up what is going on and we will go through it together because it is interesting to watch, certainly if you are a landlord or a tenant, to understand what is going on because this is moving very, very quickly. Created on Tuesday, new lawsuit on Wednesday, oral arguments were Friday, and today, Monday, you have a judge asking questions and then giving us an indication that she will rule very shortly. So let's catch you up on exactly what is going on. So first and foremost, if you don't know who is currently the judge in front of this, this is her. Her name is Dabney. I don't know, what do you want to call that? Frederick, probably? Yeah, what the heck? I'm going to say Frederick. That who is currently the judge in front of this case. So as we will see, we will go through this article. I will copy it and put it in the show notes. But here we go. This is the judge administering it, saying that, hey, the Biden administration is clearly in legal gamesmanship in the order resurrected a pandemic-related eviction ban, despite an indication from the Supreme Court that measure was unlawful. So the judge has made some pointed remarks, both sides of the equation, which we will get to in a minute. But again, what you can see here is basically, this is a new order that is requested and being, by the CDC to prevent spread of COVID. Specifically, the Delta strain was discussed. So again, they do talk about the insane pressure from the liberal left and all of those, but that doesn't help the judge. What we have here is, given that the order is identical to the CDC's earlier order as in effect, it is really hard to conclude that there is not a degree of gamesmanship going on. That is a direct quote from the judge that you see here. I will highlight it for you so you can see it. However, if you move on, at this point, the judge really goes the other direction in her questions because she is asking both the prosecutor and the defense what is going on. I guess it's not, is it called defense? I don't know. I'm not an attorney. But I certainly can understand what is going on. So again, Brett Shamat, a lawyer for Alabama and Georgia realtors, is challenging the anti-eviction. They're just rejiggering the ban last week, and it amounts to the administration defying the federal courts, including the Supreme Court. And again, highlighting that it would cover 80% of the counties. He says that the court should not tolerate any government getting away with this. Again, that is the attorney for Alabama and Georgia realtors. However, the judge seems skeptical, right? The judge seems skeptical. They're specifically talking about Justice Brett Kavanaugh's view. Again, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4. If you don't remember, I think that was on June 29th. It might have been June 30th. And Brett Kavanaugh wrote that very short paragraph saying, hey, this is the last time we believe the CDC has exceeded its control, but we will leave it in place so more funds could go out. Again, this is the judge that in May ruled that the CDC had exceeded their authority. And then, of course, it was June 29th. You see it here. Supreme Court voted 5-4, declining the realtor's request to have the ruling take effect. Let's see what else she had to say. She does highlight that none of the other justices, because again, remember it was 5-4, gave their reasoning, which she's saying we can't guess what the other justices in the Supreme Court were thinking. That is not something that she can do in the circuit court. This again is DC Circuit Court. Okay. Again, it says here that they are asked not to know what the Supreme Court will weigh in. And then they go in to talk about what President Biden had to say, that they've double, triple, and quadruple checked, that don't have options. That is going to come back to bite President Biden, I believe, because not only 24 hours later, a new order was created. Essentially, this is being argued about a public health law from 1944. Yes, lots of talk about taking clauses, the US Constitution, but what this case is hinging on is a 1944 public health law granting the Department of Health and Human Services certain powers to prevent the spread of communicable diseases across state lines, given the CDC authority to block evictions. Folks, if you don't remember this, I read this actual 19-page eviction. Now you know why they spent 3 pages documenting what would happen to tenants if they were evicted, that they would cross state lines. That is why you see this is a new order and not a blanket eviction moratorium like the last one. You can see that they've spent great time focused on the 1944 public health law, which is what this current case is being battled on. What else is going on? And again, what the government is arguing, so this would be the lawyers and attorneys for the CDC, they are arguing that COVID-19 cases in recent weeks with highly transmittable Delta variant meant that the circumstances have changed, and the High Court's decision, High Court being Supreme Court's decision on June 19th, is essentially null and void and not important, which I think is interesting. We are basically in a new chapter in this pandemic. So this is what's going on. When I read this, and I've read several other articles on this, what I have to think is, I don't think this is a slam dunk. Yes, this is the judge that ruled again on June 29th that the CDC had exceeded its authority. This is the judge that also highlighted that, hey, you got to get Congress involved so that CDC has these authorities. But you can clearly see that this is a new CDC eviction moratorium. It is a lot more focused. They've now focused it on communicable diseases going across state lines, which again is the law that is being used in this case, the 1944 law. So it's going to be very interesting to what's going on. I got to tell you, I used, when this all started, it felt like a slam dunk. I, like many of you, believe the Supreme Court is the law of the land. Clearly, the Supreme Court was not happy with what had happened, but they gave a couple more weeks to see if the money could get out. But now this is a new order, and this whole new order needs to be debated. Let's not forget that the Supreme Court is actually on summer recess. They are on summer recess. That said, there has been emergency court put in place where you could expect a ruling probably in the next 2 weeks or so. So this is not done. I can tell you that, if you're a landlord, you probably should be nervous. I believe this judge who ruled one way back in June might rule the other way. So we will be paying attention. I expect a ruling tomorrow, if not tomorrow, certainly by Wednesday. And again, folks, remember, we talked to a couple of attorneys last week, and all of them expected that this would be resolved in 14 or 15 business days, which for you and I are about 3 weeks. So it's actually moving pretty fast. We're only to day 7 of this. So stay tuned, a lot more coming. Have a wonderful evening. And remember, we will talk to you tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. for our daily financial news. Thank you very much. Bye.